Alright, so today's obviously a big day because Trench dropped officially, and we have so many new songs to listen to now. I don't know about you guys, but one song that I found a little hard to understand was Morph, and I haven't seen too many interpretations floating around, so I thought it'd be cool if I could share my interpretation of it. So without further ado, let's dive in.
Can't stop thinking about if and when I die.
Okay, so I want to go through each lyric on this song line by line and kind of give you my thoughts as we go along. So starting with the first line, can't stop thinking about if and when I die. So obviously Tyler is just thinking a lot about death. For now I see that if and when are truly different cries, for if is purely panic and when is solemn sorrow. And one invades today while the other spies tomorrow. So yeah, the if invades today because, you know, like, what if I die today? Versus when will I die? Which obviously is looking into the future. You know, you're curious about where your life's gonna be. We're surrounded and we're hounded. So yeah, we're being attacked on all sides. There's no above or under or around it. For above is blind belief. Now, when I first read that, I thought it was about faith, like in a good way. But as I read further into the song lyrics, I think it's actually a negative kind of faith, which is blind faith is actually quite different from having faith. And I'll explain a little bit more about why that is further in the video. So moving along, and under is sword to sleeve. I think Tyler is talking about suicide or self-harm, something to that degree. And around is scientific miracle. Okay, so this is the last option that Tyler's exploring in his mind. And I think this goes in line with atheism and just basically having the mindset that everything has to have evidence. And notice this is a faithless approach to the problem. So the next line is, let's pick above and see. So for if and when we go above, okay, so he's exploring the option above a little further now in his mind. The question still remains. So this question that he has is still left unanswered, even if he selects the first option. And that is, are we still in love? And is it possible we feel the same? So I'm thinking that this option doesn't quite make sense to him. And so then the next line is, and that's when going under starts to take my wonder. So now he's almost like considering this other option now, but until that time, I'll try to sing this. Okay, so now we get into the chorus, which I think is the hardest part of the song to understand. And I spent so much time trying to figure out what it means and all of the different possibilities, but this is the interpretation that I landed on. If I keep moving, they won't know. Okay, so they, as in the opposition, the tormentors, the enemies, he's saying that as long as he keeps moving in his mind, you know, he's trying to figure this out. He's trying to find the truth here. So as long as he keeps moving in that sense, they're not gonna know. And in the next line, he says, I'll morph to someone else. This is the hardest line of the whole chorus. And I've explored so many ideas, one of which being that he morphed into Clancy, or maybe even a more ridiculous one, he's morphing into his pet cheetah. But no, we're not gonna go there. But we know it's not Clancy based off of the latest letter off of the demo website, which proves that Clancy was a spectator to the whole music video of Jumpsuit when the Bishop reclaimed Tyler and all of those events occurred. We know that Clancy was actually on the same level of Tyler in the trench, just hiding in a cave. We also know it's not Josh because Josh was one of the banditos looking down at Tyler from the cliffs. But I didn't completely dismiss this idea that Tyler could be Clancy because as we know from the music video that dropped today, My Blood, you know, it kind of shows how an alter ego can still be a separate person, but one person at the same time. I mean, notice at the end of the video when the younger brother was witnessing his alter ego from a different perspective, looking at him from the window getting beaten up, which, you know, still leaves it open that Tyler could be Clancy, but I don't think that's the case. And you'll see as we continue to go through these lyrics. What they throw at me is too slow. Okay, so Nico, the bishops, the enemy, they're throwing things in his way to make it harder for him to get where Tyler needs to go. But he's saying if I keep moving, the idea of just being in state of motion instead of just sitting there in the city. So the next line is I'll morph to someone else. And then we get to I'm just a ghost. Now, this is another line that I struggled with, but let's look at the definition of ghost. An apparition of a dead person that is believed to appear or become manifest to the living, typically a nebulous image. Okay, so I think Tyler is trying to appear like a ghost because he's going to fit right in with Dima and everyone else. You know, no one will know the thoughts that Tyler has in his head. I mean, we know that Tyler is trying to escape Dima, so he's one step ahead of them in the sense that he knows how to blend in and not be noticed. So I'll morph to someone else, and then the next line is defense mechanism mode. He's morphing into something that is going to help him. So we know that this is a positive thing, that he's becoming a ghost. He's defending himself by doing this. Okay, so now we move into verse 2. Now, verse 2 is about Nico, and if we go back to the first verse where Tyler is exploring the three options, and that is above, under, or around, we know that in the first verse he's already kind of pondered over above and under, but one thing he hasn't done yet, which is around. I think Nico represents the around here in this case. And so let's read the first line here. That is, he'll always try to stop me, that Nicholas Bourbaki. Now, if you don't know who Nicholas Bourbaki was, it was a group of 9 mathematicians who were responsible for introducing the null sets into math. And you'll notice that it's actually the same symbol that is used in place of the O in 21 Pilots. Nicholas Bourbaki and its members also sought out to prove God's existence using math. So the next line is, he's got no friends close, but those who know him most know he goes by Nico. Okay, so now we know who Nico is and what Nico represents. And so Tyler personified him into this character called Nico. So after that, it reads, he told me I'm a copy. So Nico is telling Tyler that he's a copy. Now, a copy of what? So I think Nico is actually selling Tyler this lie that he is the same as them and everything that they believe and stand for in Dima. And not being unique is against biblical teachings in that we are all fearfully and wonderfully made by God, who has a plan for each and every one of us. So the next line reads, when I'd hear him mock me, that almost stopped me. So then you have Nico over here mocking Tyler and discouraging him by putting thoughts in his mind like, do you know how ridiculous you sound to think that you have the truth when we clearly have the truth? We figured it out. And we can actually confirm that this is the mindset in Dima based off of one of Clancy's letters here. It reads, they are asleep. They are so sure that they know the truth and carry on throughout their day with the same meaningless tasks. They've forgotten to look up and to look outward, to understand that this isn't about in here. It is about out here. Okay, so now we're at the last few lines of the verse, which is, well, we're surrounded and we're hounded. There's no above or secret door. What are we here for if not to run straight through all our tormentors? So we know from the first verse that Tyler's already explored all 3 options in possible ways that he could deal with the inevitable part of death. But I think, you know, with this part here, I think this can mean 2 different things. Option 1 being going through is actually the option. I guess that could resemble trench, going through trench. The option 2 is actually the idea that there is an escape. This isn't the first time Tyler has actually brought this up. Like in March to the Sea, he says, no one looks up anymore, which is a reference to people losing faith as time goes on, like in general, society-wise. And then at the end of that song, he says, I see a spaceship in the sky and hear a voice inside my head, follow me instead. And I believe this to be God talking to Tyler. Take me up, seal the door, I don't want to march here anymore. And I think this is actually the same escape door that Tyler is referring to in Morph. All right, and then he says, but until that time, I'll try to sing this. And then we get into the chorus again. So and then we have the bridge. Lights, they blink to me, transmitting things to me. Ones and zeros, ergo this symphony. Anybody listening, ones and zeros, count to infinity, ones and zeros. So I think this is definitely God talking to Tyler. And I think it's kind of interesting how he's using ones and zeros here, which is like binary, like in computers. And this isn't the first time he referred to God in such a way. I mean, like if we think back to March in the Sea, he referred to that thing in the sky as being a spaceship, and count to infinity could be a nod to God's infinite wisdom. All right, and now we have the outro where I personally think it's just Tyler being a goofball. I don't think there's anything here, but maybe there is. I just thought maybe Tyler thought it'd be funny to put Josh Dunn in here out of nowhere, and it was. So yeah, that's my interpretation of Morph. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for taking your time to listen to what I think, and let me know in the comments if you agree with what I said, or if you disagree. Definitely let me know. I will be more than happy to read them. And yeah, so peace.